Archangel Michael says, there are moments in life that challenge us in unexpected ways, and one of the most intense and revealing is when someone laughs at you. It can feel like a punch to the gut, a reminder that not everyone will understand you, appreciate your struggles, or even acknowledge your worth. But what if that moment, that seemingly cruel and humiliating laugh, actually sparked something far more powerful than you could ever imagine? It started with a moment of disbelief. A simple laugh, a harsh snicker from someone who didn't take the time to understand, to see the heart behind the facade. And in that moment, something shifted in the air. Archangel Michael says that it's not always the laughter that cuts the deepest, but the way it can open our eyes to the untapped strength we all have within us. A strength we often overlook because we are too busy hiding from the world. But in this story, the laugh that seemed to diminish one person became the catalyst for something far bigger, far more extraordinary. As the laughter echoed, a spark ignited in the heart of one person, the one who had been mocked. It wasn't just about the sting of that moment. It wasn't just about the unkind words or the unfair judgment. This person felt something stir inside, something that would change everything from that day forward. They knew in that instant that their story wasn't over, and that nothing could stop them from achieving greatness. Even if others didn't believe in them, now, imagine the transformation that occurred. From the ashes of humiliation, something truly remarkable began to rise. Archangel Michael says, this is the power of turning negativity into fuel. It's not just about responding to mockery or injustice, it's about using it as a springboard to elevate yourself beyond where you ever thought you could go. This person, who had once been hurt by laughter, suddenly realized they could use that pain to propel themselves to unimaginable heights. And then came the moment that everyone would remember. The world seemed to stand still, and the energy in the room shifted. The very people who had once mocked, laughed, or belittled this person began to witness something so extraordinary they couldn't deny it any longer. The person who had been laughed at wasn't just surviving, they were thriving, and with every step, they were leaving the doubters in the dust. This moment was one of undeniable growth, where a once vulnerable soul had taken the most hurtful thing they could experience and transformed it into an unstoppable force. Archangel Michael says that in times like this, we find out what we're truly made of. Not by how we respond in the calm, but how we rise after a storm. This is the moment that defines us, not the laughter, not the pain, but how we choose to harness it all to become someone who no one can ignore. And as this story continued to unfold, the lessons were clear. There is power in every challenge we face, and even when we feel small or insignificant, we can rise up stronger than ever. This person had learned that no one's mockery or disdain could hold them back, not anymore. They were not just fighting for their own success, they were fighting for the belief in themselves, the belief that no matter what the world threw their way, they could stand tall. At this point, you might be thinking about how you can apply this to your own life. How can you turn the pain of mockery, of being laughed at, into your own power? Archangel Michael says, the answer is simple: rise above. Use the energy of that negativity, the energy of those who tried to bring you down, and let it ignite your purpose. Let it be a reminder that you are destined for greatness, and no one, no matter how much they laugh, can take that from you. As the story continued, the impact on others became undeniable. People who had once looked down on this person began to see them in a new light. They were no longer just someone to be laughed at, but someone to be respected. And it wasn't just their success that turned heads, it was their ability to remain true to themselves, to never lose sight of who they were, no matter what others thought. Archangel Michael says, "This is the strength of self-belief, and it's the most powerful tool you have. So, let this be a reminder for anyone who has ever felt the sting of mockery or laughter. You have within you everything you need to rise, to transform that pain into something beautiful. You are capable of far more than you realize. And the people who laugh now will one day see you for who you truly are, a force to be reckoned with." This person didn't just change their own life, they changed the lives of everyone around them. They showed that anything is possible when you refuse to be broken by the cruelty of others. And as they continued on their journey, they became a beacon of hope for those who had been laughed at, ridiculed, or told they couldn't succeed. So to anyone who has ever felt like they weren't enough because of someone else's laughter, Archangel Michael says this: don't let it stop you. Use it as the fuel you need to become more than you ever thought possible. You are more than the opinions of others. You are destined for something greater. As you reflect on this story, remember that everything that happens to you can be a catalyst for transformation. Even the most painful experiences, the ones that make you question your worth, can be the very things that propel you to your greatest success. And the next time someone laughs, remember, it's only a sign that you are on the right path. You are making waves, and people are noticing. Type 333 if you believe in the power to rise above, to transform pain into strength, and to create a future where you are unstoppable. This is not just a story about overcoming mockery, it's a story about reclaiming your power, about showing the world that you are unstoppable no matter what they say or how they try to make you feel small. There is something inside of you that is greater than any laugh or criticism. And when you embrace it, you will see the world in a whole new light. Archangel Michael says, it's time to stand up and rise with unwavering faith in who you are. Don't let anyone's laughter determine your worth. You are worthy of success, happiness, and peace, no matter what others might think or say. As you move forward, remember that your greatest strengths often emerge from the most unlikely places. Laughter, mockery, and criticism can all be transformed into stepping stones toward your greatness. You have the power to rise above any challenge, and the world is waiting to see what you'll do next, so stand tall. Walk with confidence. Let the laughter that once hurt you become the very thing that pushes you to your limits, knowing that you are destined for greatness. This is your time to shine, to prove to the world that nothing, and no one, can hold you back. Type Amen if you're ready to embrace your power, to rise above every challenge, and to show the world that nothing can stand in your way. Archangel Michael says, you are a force of nature. And no matter what has happened in the past, you are destined to rise higher than ever before. Don't be afraid to show the world what you're made of, because you are unstoppable. Archangel Michael says, you may never fully understand the power of one moment until it shifts your life in ways you never imagined. This story is about an experience so profound, it will leave you speechless. Imagine someone laughs at you in the most hurtful way, and you're left wondering how to respond. But what happens next might surprise you. In the blink of an eye, everything changes. One person's reaction to that mockery had the power to transform not only the situation but the entire path that followed. You might be wondering how one response could cause such a shift. Archangel Michael says, the answer lies within the reaction, and how it can either break you or make you stronger than you've ever been. The laughter echoed through the room like a loud, cutting reminder of the harshness of the world. It wasn't just a simple laugh, it was an attempt to tear down everything about you. But it wasn't just your dignity at stake here, it was about your spirit. The moment the laughter rang out, there was something else that began to unfold. A transformation was about to take place, one that no one could have predicted. Instead of shrinking, instead of allowing that laugh to pierce through your confidence, you felt something stir deep inside. Archangel Michael says it's in moments like these when the universe presents you with an opportunity to rise. What that one person did, their immediate response, changed everything. It wasn't just about getting back at the ones who mocked, it was about something far greater, the strength that came from within. At first, the response seemed almost too simple. But that simple gesture, that calm response, set off a chain reaction that no one could have foreseen. The person who laughed expected you to be crushed, to break under the weight of their words. Instead, they were left speechless, stunned by what they had just witnessed. It wasn't anger, wasn't a fight, but something so much more powerful. It was a calm confidence, the kind of inner peace that radiated from your very being. Archangel Michael says, there's a certain magic in not reacting the way people expect you to. When you stay grounded, when you don't let their negativity touch you, you reveal a power that no one can deny. The person who laughed soon realized that you weren't someone they could break with their words, but what happened next was even more astonishing. People began to take notice. The crowd who once watched in judgment now found themselves drawn to your unwavering strength. They couldn't help but admire the way you carried yourself, the way you didn't let their negativity consume you. Archangel Michael says, when you remain composed, you draw others toward you. People want to be around someone who stands strong in the face of adversity. At this moment, your energy shifted. The world around you seemed to change. What was once a hurtful laugh that tried to tear you down became a catalyst for something greater. The people who once stood on the sidelines, watching in judgment, now began to see you as someone with immense power. They saw not just the surface but the depth of your resilience. You were no longer the person they laughed at. You were the person they admired. It wasn't about being perfect, about never feeling hurt. It was about your response, your ability to rise above. Archangel Michael says, there is a divine strength that resides within you, a strength that is awakened in moments like this. You are not defined by the laughter, the mockery, or the criticism. You are defined by how you rise after it all. As the days went by, something incredible happened. Those who had once laughed began to see the cracks in their own arrogance. They began to understand that their laughter came from a place of insecurity. They realized that the one they had laughed at was, in fact, the one who had the strength to rise above it all. And as for you, you were no longer concerned with their opinion. You had found your power. It didn't stop there. The ripple effect of that moment of grace continued to spread. The people who saw you rise now saw the world differently. They started to realize that laughter could be a weapon, but it could also be a tool of empowerment. And they watched in awe as you took the very thing that was meant to destroy you and turned it into something beautiful, something transformative. So, what does this story teach us? Archangel Michael says, it shows us that the true power lies in our response. When we choose to remain calm, when we refuse to let the negativity of others define us, we unlock a level of strength that cannot be measured. The laughter that once hurt you is no longer a tool of destruction. It is now a reminder of how far you've come and how much you've grown. Your journey doesn't stop here. Every step you take after this moment will carry the strength of the lesson learned in the face of mockery. Archangel Michael says, that strength will propel you forward into your destiny, a destiny that is far greater than the doubts of others. The people who laughed at you will one day be the ones wishing they had the same confidence you now carry. As you move forward, remember that you are not alone. There are countless others who have experienced the same thing. They, too, have faced mockery, ridicule, and laughter. But like you, they have risen above it all. And they've learned the most important lesson of all, that no one can define your worth except you. The next time someone laughs at you, remember this: they are only showing their own insecurities. Their laughter is a reflection of their fear. Archangel Michael says, your response, your calmness, is a reflection of your strength. Don't let their noise drown out your peace. You are far more powerful than they can ever imagine. This is your time to shine. You've learned how to rise when they expected you to fall. You've learned how to stay true to yourself, even in the face of mockery. Archangel Michael says, this is just the beginning. The path ahead is filled with even greater opportunities, and you are more than ready for them. So, to all those who have been laughed at, mocked, or ridiculed, this message is for you. Archangel Michael says, your power lies within you. The laughter you've faced will not break you. It will make you. You are destined for greatness, and no one, no matter how loud they laugh, can take that away from you. Now, I ask you to claim your blessing. Type Amen if you believe that your strength is greater than any mockery. Type 333 if you're ready to step into the fullness of your power and embrace the destiny that awaits you. This story is your story. It's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, to the power of staying true to who you are, no matter what others may think. And remember, the louder their laughter, the more powerful your rise will be. It all began with a laugh. A simple, seemingly harmless laugh that echoed in a room full of people. But for the person on the receiving end, it wasn't just a laugh, it was a piercing reminder of their vulnerability. A single sound that carried with it all the weight of judgment, misunderstanding, and isolation. Archangel Michael says, this is where true strength begins, when the world laughs, but you rise with grace. The person who was mocked didn't know how to react. They could feel the sting of that laughter, the uncomfortable weight of being the center of ridicule. But something inside them shifted. Archangel Michael says, there is a deep well of strength within every one of us, and in times of hurt, it rises. The laugh that was meant to break them, to bring them down, suddenly became the catalyst for something even more powerful, a transformation that no one could predict. As the laughter died down, something incredible happened. Instead of shrinking or retaliating in anger, the person stood still. They took a deep breath, allowing the moment to settle into their soul. The tears that threatened to fall were not tears of weakness, they were tears of strength. Archangel Michael says, sometimes the most powerful moments are those where we allow ourselves to feel deeply. In that moment, the tears that came were not a sign of defeat, they were a sign of emotional release, a release of all the pain that had been building up, and as the tears began to flow, something amazing occurred. The room that had once echoed with laughter fell into silence. No one knew how to react. It was as if the very air had shifted. The laughter that had been directed toward one person suddenly felt out of place. Irrelevant in the face of such raw emotion. The person who had been mocked was now the center of something different, empathy. Archangel Michael says, the greatest power lies not in how others treat us, but in how we choose to respond with love and authenticity. As the tears continued to flow, they weren't just the tears of one individual, they were the tears of everyone who had ever felt misunderstood, unseen, or mocked. The people in that room began to realize that laughter had no power over this person. Instead of breaking them, the emotional response turned the situation into a beautiful lesson about the depth of human experience and the strength found in vulnerability. Archangel Michael says, in showing our true selves, in allowing the tears to flow when needed, we invite healing, not just for ourselves, but for everyone around us. The silence that followed was profound. It wasn't the silence of discomfort or awkwardness, it was the silence of realization. The people who had laughed before began to feel something new, a deep sense of respect. They saw this person in a way they never had before, not as the one to be laughed at, but as someone who had the courage to let their emotions be seen. Archangel Michael says, there is immense power in vulnerability, and in allowing our true emotions to come to the surface, we create the space for deep connection and healing, and then, as the tears dried, a transformation began. The person who had been laughed at now stood taller, more composed than ever before. They weren't ashamed of their tears, they embraced them. Knowing that in that moment, they had shown their true strength. Archangel Michael says, the path to inner strength is paved not by avoiding pain, but by walking through it with grace and courage. The tears weren't a sign of weakness, they were a sign of emotional mastery. As the emotional weight of the moment shifted, something even more amazing happened. The people in the room began to approach the individual who had been mocked. They didn't see them as the person to be ridiculed anymore. They saw someone who had faced adversity head-on and had risen stronger for it. Archangel Michael says, this is the power of authenticity. When we allow ourselves to be seen for who we truly are, we invite others to do the same, creating a ripple effect of strength and healing, and just like that, the laugh that was meant to hurt became the moment that connected everyone in the room. The person who had been laughed at was no longer just a target for mockery. They were a symbol of resilience, of emotional strength, of the power that comes when we embrace our vulnerability. The laughter that had once felt like a dagger now felt hollow and meaningless in comparison to the strength this person had shown. As the emotional response settled, the individual who had once felt small began to realize something incredible. The mockery, the laughter, it no longer had any power over them. The emotional release, the tears that had flowed, had cleansed them of the pain, leaving behind a deep sense of peace and empowerment. Archangel Michael says, true freedom comes not from avoiding emotions, but from embracing them fully. knowing they are the key to unlocking our greatest strength. The people around them, who once found amusement in their pain, now looked at them with admiration. They saw the person in a new light, not as someone to be laughed at, but as someone who had conquered something deep within themselves. Archangel Michael says, when we rise above the opinions of others, when we embrace our true selves with courage, we set a new standard for those around us. This person had done just that. They had set a new standard of strength and vulnerability that no one could ignore. As time passed, the ripple effect continued. The people who had witnessed this emotional response began to change, too. They learned from the person who had been laughed at and found the strength to face their own challenges with greater courage. Archangel Michael says, when we choose to rise above the noise, when we show the world that we are unshaken by mockery, we create space for others to do the same. The person who had once been the target of laughter was now a beacon of strength for everyone around them. They had turned the emotional response from tears into something that healed them and others. They had turned vulnerability into a lesson of power. And through their response, they showed the world that nothing, no matter how painful, could take away their true power. Archangel Michael says, you too have this power. You have the ability to turn every tear, every painful moment, into something transformative. Now, as you read this, I want you to remember, Archangel Michael says that every tear you shed is a sign of strength. Every moment of pain is an opportunity for growth. You are never alone, and the emotional responses that come from deep within you are your greatest sources of power. You have the strength to rise, no matter what others say or do. So, if you believe in the power of turning tears into strength, if you understand that every emotional release is a step toward your true power, type Amen now. Type 333 if you're ready to embrace your emotions and turn every tear into an opportunity for growth and transformation. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $50.